All right, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It is July 4th, 2022. Larry, happy 246th anniversary of a violent insurrection led by rebels and gun toting maniacs,
Whoremongers, whiskey,
drunks.
whiskey drinking whores.
Yeah. Yeah. Had a little fun with that this morning because I was thinking about a way to make up that smart ass comment. And I've been telling people that I'm 47 for a few months now. And I was born in 1976. That's 200 years after. And I thought 247th. Then I did the math and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not 47. I'm 46. So I just gained a year back. So
You didn't know how old you were.
I didn't. I guess when you're old enough that you have to stop and do the math.
It doesn't get any easier.
I don't figure so.
You know, at some point in your life, you used to express your age in ages and years and months. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. There was an 18-month-old, I believe, at the little cookout I was at last night. And I think I'm 500 and some months. Of course,
No. You know, if you're talking to a 7-year-old, they're like, I'm 7 years old in 6 months. You know,
yeah, I'm 7.
that month thing you got to. It
Yeah.
particularly comes into play about 18 and 21. Okay.
Yeah.
20 and a half. Okay. That's yeah.
Hey, there's Richie's checking in.
I thought he was incommunicado.
I'm glad to see him and Ish are still alive after their.
Well, we don't know that. Is Ish still alive?
Well, that's a good question. We
I
need proof of life.
Proof of life, okay? I need proof of life there. So, well, last time we were here, we were in West Virginia on a new driver orientation, and back to normal this week, I guess. I do have news for you, though. I am not going to be available this coming weekend on Sunday. On Saturday. Wait a minute. Sunday? Yeah, I can do Sunday. I'm thinking Saturday. I'm not going to be available Saturday night, but we're Sunday, aren't we? Okay. Never mind.
Sunday.
Just delete all that.
Okay.
Go ahead and edit that, okay? So never mind. I will be here Sunday. Let me look at the calendar though. I had some conflict. Let me look real quick. So the podcast next week is on
the
Sunday.
10th.
Yeah, I'm good. It's all good. It's all good. I have a past president's luncheon in Cincinnati on Saturday, and I haven't gone in a while. And there's some of the guys might not be seeing these guys that much more, so I decided to go this year, and it's probably going to run into the wee hours of the morning.
I can't imagine.
So all the stories that will be told, you know, all the catching up to do and whatnot. So I probably won't be available on Saturday next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope my recovery is in effect by 9 p.m. on Sunday night.
I figure you'll be all right. I've seen you rally plenty of times.
Yeah. I've seen you rally. Speaking of rallies, we got a big one coming up, don't we?
Yeah, buddy.
In a couple of weeks. Let's see here. I'm gonna try to be the producer here.
Okay, you go ahead.
Here. Look at there. I did that. What's the picture? I did that.
Yeah.
So July 16th and 17th.
How many we got registered now?
We're 42 paid.
Okay.
So 42 paid.
Now listen, remember everybody, if you are signed up for this event and you did not reserve your hotel room on the hotel's website, you don't have a room. So you need to go into the body of the event page, go to the link for the hotel and reserve your room. We're not reserving your room for you. So if you want to have a room,
or call the hotel and tell them you're with the Blue Ribbon event. It doesn't, you don't have to do it that way. So if you do it that way, it lets us know where you're getting. We can kind of double check and follow up with you, because we'll be talking to the hotel early next week and making sure everybody's got what they expect. It is imperative though that you let us know, if you haven't already, if you're coming in a truck, because we have a whole bunch of you coming in trucks, and I'm trying to figure out where to put all these trailers. The tractors aren't a problem. trailers are going to be a little bit, especially if you're going to have work done on your truck. We got to get rid of the trailer. So what I recommend is you guys use your fuel points and go get you a reserve spot at the TA in Tays Valley. It's about 5 miles away, next exit down. And then you can either bobtail back up to the hotel, and we got plenty of bobtail space. Listen, that needs to be Richie's job, because he needs to be out there managing the parking lot.
I like that a lot.
That way he can get them all in there. The ones who aren't going to be needing to get out, we can put in the back, kind of like the truck show, get those guys in the back, because we're going to shuttle people back and forth from the hotel to the event. So you don't really have to have your truck. And unless you're going to have it worked on, if you're going to get worked on, let's just take it on over there and leave it. And then you guys are out of the shuttle. So we'll get this all figured out this week. But I didn't expect this many people to come in a truck. Last year, a lot of people flew and drove and whatever.
Yeah, we only had a handful in trucks last year.
Yeah, and we had plenty. We were literally right next door to the TA, so we had plenty of room and didn't need it. Now this year we're 5 miles from the TA and trying to find a place to park. But
Richie wants to know if he can park the fancy Peterbilts. The fancy Peterbilt guys probably aren't going to be here, but if they did, I don't think they'd let Richie anywhere near their trucks. They're real particular about them.
Now, all of our guys, okay, get your trucks washed on the way up here. Drop your trailers at TA, and we're going to put the Blue Ribbon Fleet at the event. We've never had a fleet picture ever, and Landstar has been begging me for one, and various other people. So we're going to park the fleet in a little semicircle in front of the event and have all the Blue Ribbon trucks there. So,
well, we're doing we're having a business meeting here online, but I may be having somebody to come wash the trucks there. So
I don't tell them that. Just have them wash them anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Wash the damn trucks. Get your windshields cleaned off. Get it standing tall. Get it out there and looking good, and then you can stand out there and kind of show your own truck off as the people come in. So. Anyway, July 16th and 17th, I've told everybody I know that I'm not available this week. I'm rewriting the entire event because we've got different strategies and different challenges this year than we had last year. Last year we were just sort of basically teaching everybody how to stay in business. And generally, now we've got to teach you how to literally stay in business. So I'm rewriting everything. We're going to have an entire new presentation. Probably won't even have any slides that you recognize. So I'll be doing that all week, and I'm going out Thursday of next week to get everything set up for you, get ready for you. And Friday night, we're going to have a reception at the Wingate by Wyndham Hotel in the lobby there. It's going to be transformed into the Lunatic Lounge. And we're going to have some little light hors d'oeuvres and snacky things there. Won't be dinner. You need to go ahead and have dinner. This is just to keep you from getting too drunk. And, of course, Nick and the Cash Bar will be open, and we'll have a reception Friday night. And then we'll see you guys bright and early on Friday morning. And then on Saturday morning. And then all day Saturday and all day Sunday, we'll be teaching you the ways of the lunatics. So we're looking forward to it. A lot of people that are coming and we've never seen before, never met before. I will be sending out a letter to everybody who's registered, probably late this week with some final instructions. So look for that. A lot of times our stuff goes to the spam and the junk folder for some reason. But anyway, so we got that going on. Remember that we are sponsored by these guys right here. Look at me. I'm not a very good. There we go. Now I've got it. This is why you can never, ever be off again. Okay. OPS, Pittsburgh Power, Max Mileage. We actually are running up against the Walcott Truck Show that same weekend. Also running up against the Expedite Show up in Fort Wayne. So we've got two other events that were on the calendar before we were. So Pittsburgh Power is having to divide their manpower. So they're going to send us product. I don't think we're going to have any people. I don't think. We might end up getting a straggler. But I'm working with them right now. They've got a promotion going on this weekend for $100 off. I'm trying to get them to let us continue that the weekend we're there. $100 off on OPS deal. So that'd be sweet. So I'm working on that. We'll see if we can maybe get some special prices on OPS supplies and Max Mileage that weekend. We'll have plenty of product there. So Remember, Rocky will be there to inspect suspensions or do alignments or look at tire wear or anything that's related to that. He'll be available.
You can register by going to blueribbonlogistics.com/Rocky. And if you want Carl to inspect your truck, the same address, but /Carl, fill out a form, let us know you're going to be there. I think Rocky's coming in town Wednesday. He's going to do them Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe.
Yeah.
So he'll be available.
This is just lets them know that you're coming so they can, make plans to get to you. Like with Rocky, it takes him 3 or 4 hours to do an alignment. So you just can't show up, so he'll get with you and schedule it. This lets him know who's coming. Same with Carl, depending on what you want Carl to do. It could be a matter of an hour or it could be a matter of a day, so, so let Carl know what you need. If you want to have an OPS installed there, we have everything. We don't have the different install kits. So let us know so we can have that there for you if that's what you want to do, or just go on to our website and order it, and I'll bring it there and have it there. So instead of shipping it, I'll just have it there. So if there is a special and you go ahead and order it from us, and when the special comes up, we'll make sure you get refunded the price if that in fact comes to pass. So that way you go ahead and get it there, have it there for sure. And if the special comes up, we'll make sure Pittsburgh Power gives us a refund. So, all right. We got anything else housekeeping to do here?
I believe that's it. I think we can dive into the.
Oh, one more thing. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
We don't have a banner for that, do we?
We did, but I think I screwed it up and deleted it, but I need to work on a new one.
Well, we appreciate the support, letting Facebook and YouTube know that you're following us and liking us and all that sort of stuff.
And I do have all of the audio updated in the audio podcast. I had fallen a little bit behind on that. So everything is up to date in the audio feed on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Cool. So that's up to date now, and I'll keep that update going forward.
Did I tell you that I'm now I'm a TikTok?
You mentioned something about that, but
I'm not a contributor. I
wasn't sure if that was the vodka talking or.
No, I don't know the lingo yet, but you're one of my friends, or I'm following you or something.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I need to have a conversation with you about some of your material. But
okay.
And then we've got a couple of people that I recognize that are in our little circle of influence here that are also in there. So I guess it shows up all of your contacts as potential friends.
Well, yeah, I think they take all your contacts and sell them to the Chinese. So,
did you say there was 1 million residential addresses that were hacked in China this morning?
So I saw this. I think this was a TikTok.
Of course, in China, that's just a small little town,
Oh, yeah. But think about this, right? Because we've had all these conversations from your photography days. But he said, I want you to imagine if somebody walked up to you right now and said, I'm going to print a book. And in this book, I'm going to put everybody's physical address and phone number in this book, and I'm going to give it away for free. Imagine how people would lose their mind.
Yeah. And that's literally what we used to do. Literally
what we had for 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a business, it was a bane of your existence.
Oh,
the yellow page advertising. That was a continual. I'm not going to use the word I was going to use. It's almost a continual JBX. Okay, because here's what would happen. So first of all, you can never stop. Okay, so and then if one, in your section, like the photographers, somebody as a new customer, they'll give them a half page for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it forces and so that salesman will go around and show you the potential book. Well, here's so and so, they're a half page. Others. So now you've got to go up your game. That is half a page way back then was like $2,500. It wasn't cheap. Okay. And then in my town, we ended up with 3. We couldn't have one. We had to have a competitive one. And then we had to have this little other one that somebody came out with. So there's 3 of them out there now. Okay. I told those, I said, listen, let me tell you something right now. This is a prediction that you can take to the bank. As soon as soon as I do not have to do business with you sons of bitches, I will be gone, and you'll never see my fat ass again. I didn't, and that happened, by the way, because everybody quit doing. So that company, which by the way was Windstream, was the one that I used last in Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
They end up buying out one of the cell phone companies here for a while. So you had to, if you didn't watch out, you were going to be their customer as a cell phone. I'm like, hell no. I'm not paying you guys another red cent. I'm not going to do it. I'm getting, my blood pressure's getting up. I don't need to be doing that. So.
Yeah, I only had one experience with it, but that was all it took. All right, well, let's get into the subject matter at hand. So the Black Robe Wizards have refused to hear the case of the California Trucking Association lawsuit against AB5. The least shocking piece of news that I've personally ever heard. I mean, who didn't see that coming from a mile away? But
in this industry, we just sit around and hope that somebody will come to our aid. It's typical, predictable, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, I was reading, I think it was Rachel
Maddow?
No, Rachel Premack. I don't know her name. I'm looking at the okay, here we go. Let me just put this beautiful piece of imagery up on the screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. Well, that's beautiful. AB5 ruling enters trucking into the inferno. Oh gosh. So I guess this has to do with that podcast they've got that like 6 people listen to. So I read some of these articles about this and it's going to do this and it's going to do that, and 70,000 owner operators. I mean, do they honestly believe that all of these owner operators are going to go, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to sell my truck? No, they're not. So they've come up with all these doomsday scenarios where, these trucks are just going to just disappear. And it's funny because everybody's all about being an outlaw until it's time to do outlaw shit. And then they're like, I can't be an outlaw because it's against the law. So number one, I don't believe for a second that it's going to have the impact that they think it will, because human beings have a very, very, very long history of just not doing what they're told. I'm sure there will be a bunch that will move. Now, I think we haven't heard. We're still waiting from Landstar. They haven't made a statement yet. The closest thing
they haven't updated their statement. They decreed back whenever this all happened that you had to either move or leave. One or the other. Did they actually can all the California BCOs, or they stopped whenever the injunction came out?
When the injunction came in, they just paused. But I know they had made the announcement that basically, you were going to have to not have a California address, or you're going to have to cancel your lease. That with AB5, they were prohibited basically from leasing a truck. Now, of course, I went over to the dumpster fire that is Twitter, and had a stroll through the, you talk about gutted, forested land. And there was all of these, well, you're not a real owner operator if you don't have your own authority anyway. Right. So, of course, so these numbnuts were happy about the lack of decision by the Black Robe Wizards. But if you're leased to a company like Landstar, well, Landstar is going to follow the law, whatever it is. And so, of course, people tell me they live in California. I'm like, why? It's the same thing I say in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. Why? And it's usually, well, my in-laws are here, or my family's here, or whatever.
Why? Still.
Yeah. Why?
Why is that an argument for or against? I mean,
now I know that there's a lot of people that believe that as most really, really stupid ideas originate in California and work their way east, that the federal government's going to try to put in this ABC test. And I wish them the best of luck. It's absolutely not going to happen. I'm sure they'll try.
Well, the drayage business is where it all really started. The drayage business versus the union, the Teamsters.
Right.
That's because there's and if you look into it, there's a lot of abuse in that situation. I mean, I understand where it started, but there again, though, we're trying to legislate people from making bad decisions. Okay, that's really what this is all about. We're going to protect you from these
problems that we created.
Yeah.
Well,
of course, now listen, half this industry, they run to the government to fix their problems. And then they get all butthurt when the government fixes their problem, because this is exactly how we fix the ELD problem. Okay. Look what happens when they do get involved and make their decision. All the unintended consequences. How screwed up could the supply chain get if they did? I read today that they think now it's going to be October before the enforcement actually starts, because of all the things going on, I guess, within the state of California. But I don't know. Who knows? But everybody was worried that 7 days from whenever this happened last week, that all this was going to come to an end. There's a whole lot of stuff in California that's going to rot before it gets to New Jersey if those 70,000 drivers aren't driving, don't you think?
Yeah, but again, it's like a company goes out of business, right? The trucks don't turn into dust. The buildings don't go away. They're picked up by somebody else and they're used, but that entity no longer exists. Okay. And so this idea that they think that all of a sudden these people are just going to layer and say, okay, well, I'm an employee now. Well, the company's not going to do that. The driver's not going to do that. Now, that may be I'm sure there might be some instances where a carrier is leasing a truck to a guy and they just turn him into a company driver. Just
sure.
But that, I'm thinking that's 10 or 15%. So there's this one tweet from Rachel. She says, my understanding is that this is worrisome for current owner operators in California whose companies may want to hire them as employees. But in the long term, this means truck drivers in California will have access to health care, overtime pay, and other benefits as employees. And so I asked this question. Well, what if I don't want to be a employee? I don't want their access. I don't want their benefits. I have lots of benefits as a leased operator, chief among them not being a slave. So you have people that are like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, it sucks that these people's independence and freedom and liberty and is been crushed and destroyed by the state. But hey, look
what you get. Look what you get. Yeah,
they're going to get benefits. So,
but wait, there's more.
Yeah, right. I still don't see this, because I would love, if I had the time and the money, I would love to go out to California and just pull over on.
No, you wouldn't. No, you
wouldn't. I'd like to pull over on the side of the road and get a lawn chair and see how many illegal trucks go by. I guarantee you, CARB, with as many trucks as there are in California, CARB does not have enough enforcement capability, even using CHP, to get them all. They're going to get a few. They'll get the low-hanging fruit. But I guarantee you that there are thousands upon thousands of trucks traveling California highways every day that don't have DPFs, that don't have catalysts, that are not legal. I just guarantee it, because the enforcement capability is not there.
Just try to buy a used truck on Facebook. You can't find one that's got DPF,
right?
And it's not deleted.
Well, and all a California owner operator needs to do is step across the border to Nevada, set up a PO box.
There you go.
Problem solved. It's such a BS paperwork issue that you really haven't done anything. And and this just goes back to, if the state truly had as much power as people think that it does, but generally the only power it has is that to which you obey. And look, we're coming up on 2.5 years of a whole bunch of disobedience, and people are just like, you know what, I'm just not doing it, period. And they're powerless. So I don't think that it's this is a good point. Paul Harris, what's the percentage of drivers that actually get overtime? That woman doesn't understand how companies enslave employees. That's 100%. I've talked to Rachel. She interviewed me for an article. She's not a moron. She probably leans a little bit heavy on that college education. That lacks.
She paid a lot for that.
I'm sure she did.
She's trying to get her money back.
She's, Craig hired her. She's at Freightwaves now. She used to be at Business Insider,
Right.
But well, and to this as well. I'm seeing so much of this. Well, the National Labor Relations, blah, 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 and truck drivers should get paid this, that, and the other. And of course they do this fuzzy math to make it say, the more government you get involved, the less it's going to benefit you. I don't know how hard that is for people to understand now after.
Oh, they know that until they can't defend for themselves. So they have to have the government come guarantee them $5 a mile, or guarantee them that the brokers won't out negotiate them. Okay. All this is the problem. You get what you ask for. Okay.
Yep.
You get what, and you accept what you've, it makes me nuts. It makes me nuts. Hey, listen, it's not just us. Look at all the other industries that are affected by this. Now, by the way, Uber and Lyft, they got exempted, but with Prop 22 last November. Remember that?
I believe so.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's right. They got exempted, but they couldn't get trucking exempted.
Right. Who else didn't get exempted? Strippers. It's true. So I was reading an article today. The biggest, there's some company that runs all of them. I don't know what's one is called, but anyway, they've closed like, I don't know, a dozen locations in California because it's not profitable anymore, because they're having to pay all these girls, health insurance and all this sort of stuff. So just run them out of business or run them underground.
That's exactly where they're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what'll happen to a lot of these truckers. They'll just make a change because they're not going to leave their homes.
I'm an outlaw trucker anyway. Remember, I'm an old school outlaw trucker.
Yeah, that's how we got the name Lunatic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much happening right now globally. And there are, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I do believe in opportunities. And there's just a lot of people that are making moves right now that are for their own benefit. We were talking before the show about this. Everybody remembers seeing the testimony of the Flying J CEO about being told by Union Pacific, well, you're going to have to cut your shipments way down, but they never said why. And I was listening to the No Agenda show the other day, and Adam pointed out that you can go to their website right now, and it shows you their environmental social governance score. And one of the lines...
say that again. Environmental social governance score.
Yeah. There's this ESG criteria. It's this globalist. These globalist douchebags have come up with this. That when they ever see in the news that they're having like a G20 summit, this is all the mind-numbing horse shit that they come up with while they're over there. But this, Here, I'll just put it up on the screen so you can see it.
That's a phrase that what was the one you came up with 2 or 3 weeks ago? An anal inversion or something?
Cranial rectal inversion.
Anal rectal inversion. I
Yeah.
think this goes right next to that. All these words that you put together to make word salad.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is this is Union Pacific announces climate action plan to achieve its GHG emissions reduction targets to commit to net zero target. So this was December of 2021. And this is a bunch of mind-numbing nonsense. But right here, promote rail, part of their climate action plan, promote rail as the environmentally preferable surface transportation solution. And so in order to meet this ESG goal, they have to basically behave a certain way. They have to do business with certain people, and the people that do business, but it's all this. You can go to their webpage and it's just all this nonsense about ESG. But that's why I guarantee you that this climate action plan is why they have told Pilot Flying J, well, we're not going to be able to haul your diesel exhaust fluid because, we've got part of our plan is we've got to promote rail as the environmentally preferable surface transportation solution. And, I think that's funny because I've heard a bunch of these people that watch too much TV, and they're like, oh, but trucks are bad and rail is good and we should use rail. And I'm like, I would like to see you try to bike a train down a dock just down that alley. Let's go ahead and say it's the same thing that's on autonomous truck nonsense. It's just nonsense.
It works in certain, situations, but it's limited, it's, well, Clarence McGee, I am disappointed that you have not signed up for the event. I was so much looking forward to you being a part of that weekend. So you need to get your act together, okay?
I agree. Clarence is asking, what about the agents in California? Are they affected by this? I think they would have to be, but they might get around it because it's more of an office situation. So they may not be. Of course, they could fly completely under the radar, but
I don't know. It's still the B is what gets everybody. You can't be an independent contractor for a company that does the same thing that you are doing for them. That's the problem. So I don't think it. Now, look, I think Landstar's, they didn't get where they are by being stupid. Okay. Landstar has a structure that, and I listen, I have no inside track, but I talked about this when this thing first came up. And what's Landstar going to do? Remember, Landstar is a brokerage. Okay. Landstar, there's nothing that says, and Landstar does use outside carriers, which are legitimate, independent contractors. Okay. So if, everybody may have to get authority and run on the broker side. That may be how it works. Obviously they'll have to restructure. Well, listen, projects can be rescheduled, Clarence. I mean, you got to get your priorities squared away. What's wrong with you, son? So,
and again, this is all paper. It's just paperwork. It's not actually doing anything. There was a woman, I almost called her Lorena Bobbitt, but that wasn't it. But it was like some congresswoman or something in California, Lorena something, and she's a witch. She went on this profanity-laden tirade a couple of years ago when this injunction first happened because she was so personally offended that the mighty court somewhere, but these people are very narcissistic. They think that their job is to save humanity from itself, and she's at the top of the list. I mean, she is a classical definition of borderline personality disorder. I bet she's a joy to live with. But she was one of the big driving force behind this AB5. She's probably even the sponsor of it. But she was kind of the public face. Haven't heard much from her lately. I don't know. Maybe COVID got her. What a shame that would be.
Well, another reason for my advocacy of moving all that border stuff, just slide it up. and have it go north-south instead of east-west.
Yeah. It's already like going to a different country anyway. So,
Wow, absolutely. You've never been out there on the ground?
oh yeah.
You have? Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I used to go out there every week.
You drove in on a truck. Have you ever gone out there not working, just
No, only in a truck.
You wouldn't like it. First of all, you're way too opinionated, and your opinions aren't shared by the majority of the people once you cross that line over there.
Yeah.
So
I'm an equal opportunity offender.
I have that fault myself. I tend to say what I think, and it pisses people off. So it's a gift.
Well, here's what it comes down to, and that's why the title of this is "Who's Going to Save You?" You are. Nobody's coming. If you're going to be like everybody else, you're going to do everything like everybody else does it. You're going to go down when they go down. But if you have a reasonable business strategy, you have a low cost of operation, you're running a business, not a hobby, then you're not affected by a lot of this stuff. You know,
a profitable business that you can verify by having the numbers to support that feeling.
And you've got the BSE 9000.
BSE 9000. Listen,
There's
Kevin
an opportunity there.
That scan gauge was on the market before he got a hold of it and put a KR behind it. That needs to be the BSE 9000 BRLS version.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that very thing. That's a marketing opportunity.
Yeah, it certainly is.
I don't remember who it was, but one of our drivers said something like, well, I want to do X. I don't remember what it was. And my response was, I would like for you to do the math and tell me what that's going to cost.
Tell me what that, yeah.
Well, I would like to do, okay, well, hey, I'd like to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But let's do the math and tell me what it's going to cost. Yeah. Because what we like to do and what we feel like doing and what seems like a good idea will generally not stand up to scrutiny of the BSE 9000.
Going back to what you said, though, about they're not coming. But that's the whole problem with this, though, Chris. You see, if you need someone to come save you, you really ought not be in business anyway. That's the whole problem here. You really ought to be a company driver, an employee, because that's what employees get. They get somebody to take care of them. They get somebody to solve those problems for them, and again, at a price. When you work for somebody else, you sell yourself to that company at wholesale, and they sell you at retail, and they keep the profit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good line right there. I'm gonna write that down.
I'll send you my copyright royalty request. But when you're self-employed, you literally eliminate the middleman. You sell yourself at retail, okay? You keep the profit, but you also have to be the problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole problem here. That's the entire crux of this problem. The only reason they got involved because the Teamsters wanted that drayage that were preyed upon by these predatory leases. Okay, they needed to have the protection of this union. God help us. Okay, and it's a vulnerable group because they probably, I saw some of those leases. They were horrible. Okay, but it doesn't take somebody else to enforce that. If you agree to do that, you deserve everything that you got coming. I mean, look, you got to separate people into two categories here. The sheep, okay, and then the wolves, okay. And if you're going to be the sheep, okay, I can't keep the wolves off of you. There's not enough shepherds out there to keep the wolves off of you. And so if you're going to get in this big boy game, you better grow some fangs and a tail, because you're going to have it to survive here. Everybody's not going to get a trophy. You remember that blog from 5 years ago? I ought to put that back out again. Okay. Just because you sign a lease or just because you buy a truck, that doesn't mean that you are guaranteed success, you know?
Nope.
And if you have to have somebody come save your ass in order for you to be able to be a success, that's the problem right here. This is exactly the problem. And listen, the problem we have right now in this entire country is that everybody wants that free money that everybody got last year, and now we're all paying for it. Okay,
Yep.
that free lunch, that's what's costing all the money this weekend to cook your hamburgers out, and all this other thing that inflation's out, going crazy is because of all the free money and all the money that we printed and everything nobody wants to work right now because they get paid more to stay home than to work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after a while, when all the people pulling the wagon start getting in the wagon, what the hell happens to the wagon?
So here's a good question, but isn't the only way to get into trucking start off as a company driver? Well, sure. There's nothing wrong with being a company driver. I've been a company driver. Larry's been a company driver.
A lot of people need to be company drivers. There's going to be a whole lot of people this year that are going to realize that they're better off being a company driver because they don't know anything about running a business. So go work for a good company that knows how to run a business, and they'll make you do the things that you wouldn't do for yourself, and then you've got income.
My issue here is, okay, imagine it's not trucking. Imagine I've got a hot dog stand, okay, and I'm pushing my cart down the street, and somebody walks up to me and says, well, you should be an employee because if you are an employee, you get benefits. Okay, well, who's going to get the profit of my business then if you make me an employee? Well, don't worry about that. Like Larry said, they're buying you at wholesale and selling you at retail. Okay. Well, if I give up that autonomy and I give up that liberty with my hot dog stand, now somebody else is walking off with a profit and I'm just getting company benefits. That's my issue. It's the forced enslavement when I don't want to be a slave anymore. I have no desire to be a company driver when I now understand that if I put up some capital and I manage the risk and I take all of the precautions that I need to take in order to get that profit. So because somebody's going to get the profit. Okay. Somebody's getting the profit. Please don't leave that part out, because all of these, if every one of these 70,000 owner operators instantly became employees, somebody's going to make that profit. And that profit's what we're fighting about. Somebody else wants that profit. It could be the unions. The union wants the contract. The union wants the influence because
the dues.
Yeah. They want the power and influence that they used to have that they don't have anymore. But somebody wants that profit. And so whenever anything like this, anything you see pop up on the television or in a news article, you need to learn how to ask the question, who benefits? Who benefits from what this is, right? Because somebody's trying to benefit, and 99 times out of 100, they're going to use the state to try to regulate you out of the way so that they can come in and make that spread and shove you off into indentured servitude. Now, Gene's making a point here, says, I didn't start as a company driver. I've never been a company driver, and I didn't go to truck driving school. Okay, that's possible. That's possible right now. It was a lot more possible years and years ago when you could learn on the farm and you could get a chauffeur's license and grandfathered into CDL before there ever was such a thing as a CDL school. But any person right now could obtain a seat, go buy a truck and a trailer, use that truck and trailer to obtain a CDL. You can show up down at the DMV and say, all right, here's my truck and my trailer. I need to take my test. Now, I don't know. That may have changed with this entry-level driver training nonsense they come up with, but there's probably a way around it. And then you could get an authority and you could pay the $50,000 or $60,000, whatever it is, to get the insurance started. And you could go from zero to owner operator. Chances you're going to be in business after 6 months, next to zero.
Well, listen, those are pioneers. Okay. There's nothing wrong with someone that has the ability, the desire, the motivation, the drive, willing to take the risk, all those things. I mean, that's a pioneer. That's what, and there's going to be a few of those. I mean, we recognize a lot of those in all different aspects, of life and business. But the majority of people aren't gonna do that. They're not that type of, you know, um, they're not gonna they're just not they're gonna have to get started somewhere. And this is the problem I have with the trucking industry. Okay, going back to Brian's thing. Yes, let's say that almost every business, okay, you have to start somewhere. I mean,
Mhm.
look, and I was a professional photographer for 30 years. I had to start by working for another photographer. I didn't know shit about it, okay? I mean, it was a nice hobby. I didn't know anything really about it. So I worked for another guy. I worked for a year and made nothing, zero, okay? It worked every Saturday for nothing. So and now of course my career was obviously successful, and I made a ton of money, and but someone that's just going to start out and do something that's rare. So the typical path is to work for somebody that does what you want to do or you think you want to do,
Mhm.
and learn from them. Now, here's where it gets a little awry, okay? Let's go back to any other business. Let's go back to hot dog stand, for example. I don't know anything about hot dogs. I'm going to go work for a hot dog place, and I'm going to learn how to be the best hot dog place there is. So I'm going to work for this guy. I'm going to learn everything I can, okay? Then I'm going to go in business, competing with him, or maybe a different area. But now I've got to invest in a hot dog stand, a hot dog machine, a hot dog product, employee. I got to put up all this. See, in trucking, you have to do that. In trucking, everybody that drives a truck that hates their job, and everybody that drives a truck hates their job because they hate their dispatcher, and they hate their safety person, and they hate, so that they think the escape out of what they hate is driving a truck with their name on the side of it. Okay.
Mhm.
And we can make that very easy for you in this industry. Sign this document right here, and you can have one tomorrow with no money down, no credit, no zip.
Profit.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not that's where the problem is. That's what AB5 is trying to eliminate: predatory leasing. So let's take the opportunity away from everybody,
Mhm.
because a bunch of you can't take care of yourselves. Can't protect yourself from signing a document that's 30 pages long that you didn't read the first paragraph. If you took it to any attorney worth his salt, would tell you to run from it, not sign it. But yet we do thousands of them every day in this country.
Mhm.
That's what AB5's after, you know. So
Let me go back to this starting at zero and going straight to owner operator, because people get butthurt if I say there's something wrong with it, and there's not anything immoral about it, But we interviewed a guy one time that was wanting to. He said, "Hey, well, I got money. I want to go. I don't want to be a company driver. I want to go straight into being an owner operator. I want you guys to help me." And I said, "Okay. I need you to have."
well, we at first we said no, and then
Right.
you came up with this scenario. So
And I said, "Okay, the only way that I would agree to do this is if you have a paid for truck and trailer, and you have $150,000 cash in the bank." And that knocked the wind out of his sails, because in order to do this, you're going to have at least probably 75 grand, 50 to 75 to buy a truck and a trailer that's worth having. You're going to have at least 20,000 in the bank to cover maintenance. You're going to have at least probably 50 grand in the bank because you're going to do your own billing, or you're going to factor, which is dumb. Why not? Even if you had the 150,000 or well, in this scenario, it's like 250 grand. If you had $250,000 in the bank, I would still tell you, go be a company driver for a year and learn how this industry works. Then come to us and let us show you step by step so you can create the good habits. And then you've only got to take about 50 You can leave the other 200 in the bank to grow interest, and then you could spend 50 and buy a truck, get to the same destination, but be so much less risk involved.
But he didn't want to spend the year as a company driver.
Yep.
He wanted to bypass the part where you have to go pay that price. What if I had refused to work for that guy for a year for free? Look at the hundreds of thousands of dollars that would have cost me in 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's, you know, and that's a problem we have with we're probably 2 generations in now to this. I don't want to sweep the floor. I only want to start out with a desk job, you know, with my name on the door and a plant in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people they get out of college with a degree they can't use,
Mm-hmm.
and so they just go back and get another degree that they can't use. You know, and I mean, you drive down the road and everybody's got a hiring sign out. You know, yeah, hell, I'm trying to add on to my hell. You can't get anybody to damn work. There's nobody out here that will build that will hammer nails and, you know.
Or if they are, they're backed up 6-8 months to a year, you know, and you can't get to them, you know, the few.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing perusing TikTok, I actually get a little bit of hope because I see that light bulb is starting to glow. People are looking around going, wait a minute. So I can go get, like you said, I can go get a degree that's worth 0. I find out after
it's worth less than 0 because it's cost you $100,000 to get it.
Right.
It's a negative value.
So I can go get another one that's also worth 0, and now I'm 200,000 in the hole.
And now you want everybody else to forgive that debt for you because you made a bad decision. That's the AB5 of college.
Yeah.
Let's just wipe it all out because you made that stupid decision. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Well, no, well, I saw a TikTok of this comedian that went to do a corporate event, and he got done with his set, and they came up to him and they said, "Well, you made like it was a joke about feminists or something," and he had offended someone, and they're like, "Well, you're going to have to apologize." So he goes up to apologize, and he says, "Listen, man, I'm a feminist. I'm all for, women and this, that, and the other." And then he makes an OnlyFans joke at the end. He's like, "Well, I'm not going to be allowed back in." And listen, let me promise you, if I had the equipment, I'd be on OnlyFans tomorrow, but I'm not equipped.
That's a little TMI right there.
Listen, okay. I see some of the money these girls are making, and they are doing okay.
I guess it doesn't really matter that AB5's knocking out the strippers anyway, is it? I mean,
they got a lot better job.
Stay home and get a better job. And don't have to put up with all the dickheads, right?
Right. There's Gene said, "I got a degree to repair television sets, and now they go in the garbage and get a new one from Walmart."
Yeah. I walked through Sam's Club today because I wanted to smoke some ribs today, so I had to go buy some ribs. They got a 105-inch TV in there for like $1,800. Mm-hmm. I mean, my Lord, I remember the first time I got a Sony, those LED Sonys, a Sony top. It was like $3,000. It was about this big.
Okay? Oh yeah. We bought a 55 at Walmart, I think last year, maybe in 2020, and it was like $297. Right. So we get it home. And I went and I looked up. I did a you can search Google date. So I put in like before 2010 55-inch TV, and it popped up an article from like CNET, and they had just released this, this 55-inch television. I think it was a Vizio, and it was like $2,900. And I'm like, kids, look here, we just bought this television for $290. Right. When it came out, the year Levi was born, it was $2,900,
Yeah. This has got to be a Mopar guy, Hemi forever.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the
good question.
It is, but here's the answer.
We got to read it. for the audio people. Do
Okay.
you guys ever foresee in the future in your company where you guys will take people straight out of CDL school and hire and train them, or are you strictly sticking to 1 year policy? We're sticking to the 1 year policy because it's Landstar's policy.
Yeah.
You know,
As long as we continue using Landstar as our carrier, which I don't foresee that changing. We've talked about this many, many times. We choose Landstar because that's where we can function and do what we do. I think it's the best opportunity still. It'll be interesting to see how this AB5, if it changes the business model at all. But Landstar has a 1 year minimum requirement. So it's not necessary. We actually prefer 2 years. Our recruiting information says 2 years because we have found when we started this, we said right up front, we're not a driving school. We do not want to teach you how to drive a truck. But we find out that people have only got 1 year's experience. First of all, they didn't teach them anything in CDL school. So they know nothing about reading the map. They know nothing. Most of them can't shift a manual transmission. So we bumped it to 2 years so we could get someone with a little more life experience. So we wouldn't have to teach as much. It still doesn't work. So now we have to have restrictions, 2 years experience. You must not have an automatic restriction. You must know how to do a manual transmission. You must know how to read a map. And if you use the words the GPS told me, you're disqualified before you can get the last word out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why our program is designed to teach the business of trucking, not how to be a truck driver.
I would love to. I really would. I would love to be able to take, if money was no object, and I had unlimited capital to invest, I would love to take an 18-year-old straight out of high school and put them in a dump truck or some local interstate deal to bypass all of the bad habits that are created. I think it would be a great opportunity. It's expensive as hell because you've got to get insured, and that's why these big companies are kind of the front door. They're self-insured, so they can afford to hire these rookies and have them, tear shit up.
I'm gonna destroy your dream.
Well, my dream's already destroyed. I'm saying I'd love to, but it's too expensive. You can't do it.
I'm going to change your mind about loving to. Okay, how many 18-year-olds have you raised yet in your life?
Well, I'm almost there with one.
No, you're not. How old is she?
16.
15? 16. Okay. Well, wait till you raise an 18-year-old, and then you'll just eat all those words you just said. Last thing you're going to want to do is take an 18-year-old out of. No, you don't want to let the CDL schools. First of all, the 18-year-old thing. I don't even know how it's going to work out.
It's another BS.
Listen, we have two 24-year-olds, 24 and 26-year-old. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, think real hard here. There's a maturity level, even at 24 and 25 and 26, that could be improved, right? Imagine 18. Can you imagine 18-year-old in our program? First of all, they wouldn't last 30 minutes. You would kill them. Okay. They couldn't take your sarcasm.
Well, listen, but here's the curve that you're not thinking about. Most of the kids from 12 to 18 that I'm dealing with on a regular basis are homeschool kids. So they're not these robots that we're getting out of government schools. They're kind of a different breed. And I tell you, there's I've met a couple of these kids that if I could do something very local, where they were in a truck with an experienced driver every day. Sure. But again, this is such an expensive, I don't know that Blue Ribbon could ever have the kind of capital to invest in something like that, even though I would love to be able to take somebody from zero and walk them through the process, even if it didn't involve 18-year-olds. If it was, I see Richie's looking.
I know.
We're talking about him. Look, Richie's 25, came to us at 23. And watching Richie grow through this has been one of the most rewarding things I have ever experienced. Okay. And I've had some 50-year-olds that I wanted to strangle the life out of. So, I'm 50 years old. Well, you act like you're 12. So, um, but Richie accepts responsibility. He, he takes coaching, and when he screws something up, he learns from it and moves on. We had to work through that. But it's probably not in the cards of something for us to do. Now, I would love to see the industry adopt an apprentice model instead of this joke that they have now, but they're not going to because there ain't no money in it.
No money. No money.
Well, let's put Rocky says started at 18 interstate hauling cars for a guy that mentored him. 94, I ran Florida, only making 2,500 to 3,000 a week. I turned out pretty good, but I also been working since I was 14. I mean that comes but that goes back to I'm teaching my kids work ethic now, and they hate it, but I'm putting it out there on a weed eater and saying, go do the job, or when you're doing the dishes, do the job. This is practice for life, because this is your opportunity to learn how to go out into the marketplace and be valuable to someone. But if you're not going to learn how to be valuable to someone, you're going to be one of these pinheads from the college that thinks the axis of the universe runs through the top of your head, and they're just idiots, But they were raised to be idiots.
I had that shovel back at me yesterday. I responded to a Facebook post about a guy that was butthurt because they kept taking his post down. And so I was basically telling them, look, whoever starts the group, they have the right to edit what's on there if they don't agree with your views. That's their group. You probably should just either start your own group or find one that agrees with you. And somebody responded, they said the same thing. Yeah, well, Larry, but the axis of the universe passes through the middle of his tiny little head. And about that time, the whole thing went away. So they killed the whole thing. But somebody thrown it back at us. So
I was listening to something it was a clip, I think, from NPR, and they were doing this story about that they had polled people about how they would choose an employer. Would it be about the compensation package, or would it be how they felt about the company's moral compass and all this nonsense? And so they play this clip from this young guy, and now the money's important, but I should really find a company that lines up with my views. And I'm like, y'all are going to be broken out of business because you have made this all about yourself. You've not made this about the customer. You've not made this about adding value to other people's lives. You've not made this about enriching other people. It's me, 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 me. How do I feel about it, and what are my values? And everybody should line up with me. And they're so full of shit that their eyes are turning brown, but they'll find out the hard way, and then they'll be either bankrupt or they'll figure it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the service business was being so dumbed down. I mean, the expectation is just gone. I mean, it's a shame that people really don't understand customer service. I mean, you go to, even the lowest level, you go to a Walmart, guy. First of all, they've got 24 registers and one of them's open. That's to start with. But even then, the person there, he's got two hands, but he's only using one of them. And he's talking to his buddy next to him, stand there that ought to be doing something else, obviously, but stand there, and they're just bitching about their job. At no point did they acknowledge the customer. No point did they say thank you. It's just, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what. The autonomous truck thing. That's what's going to happen. I mean, everything's self-service. The reason there's only one cashier there is because all these other self-service lanes are all open and full. People, hell, there's a line getting to them
Mm-hmm.
because people have given up on having, hey, you can't go to a restaurant. I mean, there's a couple of restaurants we like to go. We have to call in advance. Is your lobby open today? No, nobody showed up. Okay, well, sorry, I'm not coming. So now that it's accepted that, well, let's just go through the drive-through and just carry out. So I mean, our expectation has been lowered so much because of this pandemic. Oh, by the way, there was a big news thing today, the pandemic. And by the way, just in case you've forgotten, it's still killing hundreds of people every day. That was a news article today. All the shit going on. Here it is. Yeah. The pandemic, COVID is still killing hundreds every day. And they're interviewing this doctor, and he's going, well, we don't have anybody in ICU, but yet
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And monkeypox.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know who pointed this out to me, but this is 1972 to 75 all over again. Like somebody went and drug up a bunch of headlines from the early 1970s, and you could just change like one word in there, and everything was identical. They were some transgendered tennis player. It was all about sex and all this different, and the same economic issues and inflation and interest rate. It was identical all over again.
Dude, we had gas rationing in 71 and 72, 73. But gas rationing. You could only buy gas on a certain day of the week.
The good news is that means we get to do the 80s all over again, but with Wi-Fi. So
good rock and roll's coming back.
Good music will come back. Yeah, I just hope we don't do the neon clothes again. That was a little bit much.
Yeah,
we could do without the neon clothes. But I mean, we might get hairbands back. I mean, it could.
Yes, Richie, the speed limit was lowered to 55.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so cars were built to run 55. I had an '87 Dodge Dakota until my wife forced me to get rid of it. And it was geared and built to run 55. And so after they raised the speed limit, you'd be going 65 down there. That thing is screaming because everything was I had an old car from it was an 82 model, I think. And it had a red dot on the 55 because, well, the national speed limit was 55. And so, all these old cars from the 80s were, what's a hair man?
If you only listen to this, you're missing it. You got to start watching because you're not seeing the comments, and that's half what makes me. So, I had a 70 Chevelle Super Sport, 396, 375 horse, Cal induction. Okay, had a 750 double pumper Holly carburetor on it. So
we'll have to explain to Richie what that is because his mind's so far in the gutter with the double pumper. We'll have to explain that one to him.
So and gas is you you can only fill up every other day. I'm commuting back and forth to college, another city. I'm commuting. So I ended up having I had to trade my Chevelle in for a Volkswagen Beetle.
My gosh. That's awful.
A Volkswagen Beetle. That's what I mean, you know what that car be worth today?
My gosh.
And it was sweet. It was sweet. I mean, it was sweet.
Is that the one you almost got arrested in?
I didn't get arrested. I got a ticket. I bought it and got a ticket on the way home. My best friend would have never met his wife if I had not done that. Because when I was going to the courthouse to pay the ticket, he went with me, and he ran into the woman who eventually became his wife. I've yet to get him to reimburse me for that ticket.
So there's a side conversation going here in the comments with Phil asking Richie what a hairband is. And then Richie says, I have no idea, Phil. I imagine it's a bunch of hairballs on stage, which is actually technically correct.
It's true. Look up White Snake if you want to know what a hairband is. Okay.
White Snake. I saw a T-shirt the other day and it said, if you air drum to Def Leppard with two arms, you're an asshole. But listen, this cycle it just keeps going. You know, we're in the 70s right now. We'll transition into the 80s. We'll have tremendous economic growth. But I don't even know how we got here. We're so far off the rails.
No kidding.
But
well, this is a comment-driven program, okay?
Yeah.
We have a subject matter. We address that. It sucks. We moved on to things that people want to talk about. So, and we've got a bunch of people that are watching. Got a nice audience tonight, and so I'm okay with that.
Clarence says, I'm glad there wasn't Wi-Fi in the 80s. I would like to have Wi-Fi. I'm glad YouTube didn't exist between 1992 and about 2000.
Lord.
You know, because there's a lot of stuff I did that did not need to be cataloged.
I would be in prison if there was video cameras on every street corner like there is right now.
Yeah.
I would my life would be much, much different. You know that everybody is a felon that just didn't get caught. You know that?
Oh yeah.
Everybody is a felon. Well, there's probably a couple of people that aren't, but
well, we had a guy unfortunately roll a truck over and total it a few weeks back. And he asked me something like, well, have you ever done that? And I said, well, I tried awful hard. I just never actually did it. You know, of course, he said his load shifted. And I'm like, well, yeah, it did after you went through that turn 50 miles.
Of course, they do shift when you lay them over on their side. You know, they do tend to shift. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put in a shameless plug right here. If you all this we're doing right here, that's what we're going to do all weekend. We're going to share. We're going to talk about things like that. Especially at the Blue Ribbon Bar, all these war stories are going to be. Everybody's going to have these. You know, it's going. You guys. We probably can take about 10 more. Okay, you guys. We got 2 weeks, so jump on board. Get in here. Let's just get 10 more people in here, and we'll help your business. We might save your business if you are concerned.
Not too far gone.
Yeah, if you're concerned about how things are looking, you're gonna hook up with a really, really good network of people that you'll make friends for life and business associates that will help you in your business. You'll get to see the great state of West Virginia. Okay.
Yes, you will.
I posted a example of a West Virginia cookout on Facebook yesterday. Did you see that, Chris?
Yeah.
It's a pickup truck with an old type of radio antenna that sticks out of the fender. Mm-hmm. The guy had lined up all these hot dogs on this and driving around 90-degree weather, and that was his West Virginia.
I rode up to Pennsylvania last week with Christian, our driver who was born in Bogota, Colombia. And we were talking, and they've moved to West Virginia. And I said, so how's it come? How are you acclimating? He's like, oh, we had pepperoni rolls. I'm like, okay, well, you're official now. You've had pepperoni rolls. You are 100% on the program.
I'm going to tell you this. If you guys are coming to the event and you're coming from the east or from the west to the east, you need to make it a point of finding Hillbilly Hot Dog. I'm going to let you do the research. Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's an experience that you need to have. Now, you can't go there in a truck, okay? You'd have to just go in a car. But you need to find Hillbilly Hot Dog. It's at exit 18 once you get to West Virginia, but a few miles off the road. And especially if you're a hot dog person, because you will find yourself that will end up being on the top of your list of hot dog food and experience, by the way.
There's a YouTube video of Guy Fieri, that diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
That he went to Hillbilly Hot Dog, so you can see.
True.
It's fantastic.
We used to go there, but it takes about 2 or 3 hours to go there, wait, eat, and come back. It just killed our day, so we kind of quit going. But
yeah, it's almost an hour drive from Hurricane to get down there. But it's
I guess
it's about 40 miles, 45 miles.
About 40 miles, yeah. And it's a nice good. Now look, when you get there, especially on the weekends, motorcycles everywhere. Now that should give you an idea what kind of place it is. So those guys come from all over, and to ride down there on the weekends and eat there. So OPS system, how far can the lines be? I don't know the answer to that. I think you asked me that and I cannot tell you that. You need to call Pittsburgh Power. They've got a um, whatever you call it, tech line, and they can answer that. I don't think it matters because I mean it's runoff oil pressure, so I don't think you could run it back in the back of the trailer, obviously. But I don't think running a few feet is going to hurt anything. But certainly don't take my word for it. Call the tech support line at Pittsburgh Power, and they'll tell you that. So I will tell you this: if the amount of hose they gave you in installation kit reaches it, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have to have more than what's in the installation kit, I'd call them. That's what I would do.
I mean, the thing runs off of oil pressure, you know, and you're going to have 50, 60 pounds of oil pressure. So, I mean, I can't imagine. Well, what was that one that other competing Gulf Coast something other? They would mount those on the back of the cab. So,
right.
I would have to imagine. Now,
I
would want it installed by Dr. Bonecutter so that it's going to be properly shielded and not have it rubbing up on a piece of metal somewhere and get a hole in it.
And then all your oil's on the side of the road. So another reason, Clarence, you should come to the event. You could get Carl to install it for you. Your project needs to be moved a week or two. Okay.
Says Hedgesville, West Virginia's in the house.
Where's Hedgesville?
Well, it's actually over almost in Virginia. It's over off 81. That's the part of West Virginia that we need. Oh, we need to get back. Oh yeah, and Clarence has 156-inch sleepers, so it's a long way to. But I bet you there's a spot Dr. Bonecutter could find to put that thing on there. Maybe he can just put it up in the cab with you. You know, just mount it to the dash and run the lines down.
He will make something. He will craft something to make that work. Listen, if the people that we introduced to Dr. Bonecutter, they would pay 10 times what we charge to come to this event to make that introduction again. As much money, as much trouble as he saved them over the years since we've turned him into a rock star. So getting a chance to come there and meet Dr. Bonecutter and get your truck worked on, I can't imagine why anybody would pass it up.
Yep. Hey, what you gonna do about this?
Yeah. Wonder if he'll wear that T-shirt that weekend.
Oh, here's a good comment I wanted to hit. Driverless trucks will not be a thing. Commercial aircraft that are Category 3 instrument certified have been able to take off, land, and fly themselves since the late 90s, early 2000s. This is something that I wholeheartedly agree with. I think there will be some autonomous trucks that are running very selected routes. But the first autonomous truck that runs over a minivan and wipes out a family of 5, it is over. Look at the Concorde jet. You know, that Concorde jet running a supersonic flight between London and New York City was all great until it killed a bunch of people. And it was over, done, finished. I haven't been supersonic flight since. In my personal opinion, is that the autonomous trucks and the obsession with them is like the obsession with electric cars. It makes absolutely no sense. There's not any market desire, but there's plenty of government money that's flowing into that research because somebody's got a hard on for this autonomous truck stuff.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. Yeah. You know, I mean, dude, the absolute irony of people saying, okay, well, we're going to have to turn off your charger because you can't use your air conditioner. Like,
you do know that we didn't get the fuel surcharge from the government agency this week or last week because of voltage irregularities. Did you? Did you?
I remember.
I didn't make that up. I didn't make that's the guy. I wonder how the grid's going to handle. You know how many million cars we have. You know, plugged up.
Yeah, I was looking for that. I saw that article. I was going to try to find it, but I can't find it. Oh, there it is. I think. No, that was from June. Well, no, that was last week.
Just Google EIA. It'll come
That's
up.
one. It's a FreightWaves article. But anyway, I mean, just that's they can't send out a report because their computers are jacked up. And I'll tell you the best article of all places that I got it. The best article on autonomous cars was by Brad Keselowski, NASCAR driver, who's a very, very intelligent, thoughtful person. And this is probably 3 or 4 years ago. And he was a Ford, I guess he still is a Ford guy. So he got this peek behind the scenes and he's going around to Ford and he's like, look, I'm on vacation with my family and I'm driving down the road in my Ford Expedition, and he gets behind a log truck and he looks up the top of that log truck and he sees a loose log. He says, look, my human eye can see that potential hazard. This car's not going to see it until it hits the ground in front of me. And then he went into the infrastructure that it would take. Because, of course, they're wanting to build these. We need to invest in infrastructure to build these roads that will charge the car. That is 50 years away minimum. And of course, there's a YouTube channel or website or something that catalogs Tesla crashes. Like, Tesla's got a problem, and I saw the comment. The biggest hurdle to automated trucks is insurance companies. Doubt me? Just ask anyone who's tried to file a collision claim on a Tesla while in autopilot. It's not going to happen. And Phil says autonomous trucks are like wind energy, a government pipe dream. There will be people that or just get obsessed with it. Peter Cockendall. My grandfather had a self-driving vehicle. It was a horse-drawn buggy, and the horse knew the way home. Unlike a Tesla, the horse never committed suicide because it had actual intelligence. Oh. There's so much impractical things, which of course that's what government does. It takes the impractical and tries to make it practical, and it never works. So
it tries to explain to you that it's necessary.
Yeah.
Y'all need this, okay? This is for your the government's like a huge condom, okay? This is for your protection.
Hey, public service announcement: Bitcoin's still on sale, and will continue to be. Look, I was telling somebody today, like by every statistical measure, which means back to using the BSE 9000, because you can feel some stuff and you can think some stuff and you can. It seems like. By every statistical measure, there has never been a safer and more prosperous time to be alive in human history, period. Despite all the distractions, despite all the problems, some real and some imagined, there has never been a better time to be alive than July 4th, 2022. By every measure. Now, you got to turn off the news. Because they just constantly feed you with nonsense and propaganda to make you think that that's not the case. But it's never been better than it is today, and it's only going to get better. But when we're in situations like this, where the globalist douchebags are doing all the stuff that they do and creating problems, you need to have a low cost of operation. You need to have all of the good cost savings habits to weather this storm. And once this storm is over, and the clouds have passed, the sun shines out again, and we go back to just what we were doing before. That's where it's at, and it's being prepared, and that's what running a business is about. It can't be a hobby.
Well, I think we've beat this horse up.
Yep.
We'll just call tonight. And thank you all for listening and watching. And
Oh, well, let's hit real quick. We do have a truck available.
we do.
So
We
oh,
do.
there it is. Driveforblueribbon.com. Fill out an application. We'll get with you. We'll do an interview. We'll hit you in the mouth a little bit and figure out if you're right for the program. But we do have a couple of trucks available. So now would be a good time to come and learn. Wax on, wax off.
Firsthand knowledge. You think the weekend with the lunatics is good? Spend a year and a half with us. See how good it is. It didn't get any better than that, right? Don't forget to reset your mindset. The only one this year, okay? As much trouble as there are, it might be the only one forever, but I say that every time I'm about to do one of them.
Yeah.
Because they're a lot of work. But anyway, I guess that's it, right? So next Sunday night, and then at the event, it'll be on Friday night. So you're going to get us twice in a few days here, Sunday night and then again on Friday night. So,
and Friday night's going to be a barn burner. So
we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of people that are going to make cameo appearances on that Friday night. So,
and most of them doesn't know that yet. So
yeah, we have no clue. But
all right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Everybody
right,
be good.
Take care. Be safe.